Hey everybody, gonna clean off my camera a little bit here. There we go. How's everybody doing? The sun is nice and calm at the moment. Let's get a little Denver sucks in the chat. Little little Denver sucks in the chat. Go over just a couple of things. First of all, hopefully people intent on asking questions have done their homework. If you have not done the homework, it's right down there below the video in the description box. It's clearly labeled homework. There's also a link down there to the Observer Review, our e-magazine. Not only are the monthly issues the best way to stay up to date on everything, but in 2 days we are, and this goes for current existing subscribers and any new subscribers as well. You're going to get access to every issue we've put out, which happens to be, as I mentioned in the morning show, a longer thing than my textbook. And this covers everything relevant in space weather, solar climate forcing, and catastrophism, the Earth disaster cycle from the last 14 months. It's quite the resource, put it that way. The other thing that's down there below is a link to my X, formerly Twitter page. If you're not on Twitter, it is the most fun place on the internet right now, and it is a lot of fun. I'll take a moment to answer a couple of questions I've seen here already. Nope, still don't have any good information from the ESA Swarm Conference. I'm sort of resigning myself to the fact that we're not going to get any cool news, but is what it is. Maybe we'll get lucky someday soon. I saw a couple questions about Observer Ranch, how to become one of the long-term members. That all starts with an email to us via the Observer Ranch website, observerranch.com. Contact us through there, and we'll get you all the information. I'd rather not talk about that too much here on the live stream. But we're going for 3 in a row, relatively salt-free. Last 2 have been relatively salt-free. Something, a quarter step below miracle there. But we're going to try. We're going to try. So, first question I'm saying, any updates for the ionosphere F1 energy levels? Nope. Same for F2, F3, and F4. I did some checking. It's almost like the polar summer mesospheric echo stuff, where a bunch of information came out, and as soon as it became readily apparent that it was the sun that controls it and that it's being amplified by the magnetic pole shift, it went quiet. Same thing with those ionospheric levels right now. I'm thinking about actually reaching out to some of the authors from those original papers that we were going over, see if they have any insight. But so far, haven't seen anything yet. Anyway, nothing like being notified about a show after it's over. Bruv, we're just getting started. Haven't even started yet. Why is it so cold in Europe right now? Global warming, obviously. 11-year sun cycle. That's not a question. What's your question, M. Banam? Anyway. So, how's the diet cut going? Well, slightly off topic, but it's going pretty well. Down about 17 pounds now in the last 7 weeks. I'm trying to push the calories back up because I'm starting to notice I've reached that point in the cut where squats are starting to be a little bit more of a struggle. Deadlift starting to be a little more of a struggle. I don't like that. I don't want to take weight off the bar. I want to keep going. But I'm gassing a lot more easily now, which is no fun. No fun at all. Any update on the Mars nighttime gases? Nothing more than what I shared a couple days ago. You talking about the methane? No, I mean, that was just a couple days ago. That was their big update. It'll probably be a long time. Diet gym chat, I'm out. All right, loser. Bye. You know what? I'm going to make sure you leave, actually. Don't be a little bitch. I'm going to treat you like a little bitch. And there we go. We're salty already. Let's try to have that be it, though. Is cloud seeding out of control? No, it's not out of control. It sucks. It has negative consequences, but it's not out of control. Please hear me when I say this, and I'm saying this for your benefit. Most of you guys who look up and you're like, oh, cloud seeding or chemtrails, most of you are wrong. Yes, they are doing it, but you don't really actually know what you're looking for. You think you're looking for white lines in the sky that last longer than you think they should. You think you're looking for soupy skies. No, that's not what you look for. Not even close. Anyway, we have a super chat here. Is it plausible that the lowering magnetic field strength of the planets in the solar system could affect the near-miss trajectory of Apophis? Probably not. Probably not. It's an interesting question, though, but probably not. It's hard for electromagnetism to really affect trajectory of relatively heavy, high-velocity objects. Very, very challenging. El Zaber talking about Dubai using the electric current thing on the clouds. Did you miss my 2 videos on that like a week ago? It's no skin off my behind if you don't watch every video. But for the tier and for the rest of the class, when you're skipping a bunch of classes and you come that had an entire class dedicated to it just a couple of days before, everybody else is just like, tell me you're not rolling with us without telling me you're not rolling with us. I would think you guys would be embarrassed to do stuff like that, but I don't know, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe you're not easily embarrassed. Where are the magnetic poles, please? Don, do you not know where to find that data? Do you not know where to find that data? You gonna make me do this? You gonna make me post the link? Okay. Okay. One thing. Man, this is taking a minute. Okay. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. All right, I'm going to post the link that I just posted right now. That's where you find it, and it's accurate. This data is not hidden. The guy in Europe, in the UK, who claims to be tracking it is a complete fraud, which most of you know already. Just for those who might not. Do you believe in Jesus Christ? No, I wear this thing as a fashion statement. Got a mice infestation this winter from spilled seeds in my coops and caught something terrible. Just got out of hospital and working my way back. Wear a mask when eradicating rodents. It's been 16 days. I'm really sorry that happened to you. That sucks. I can tell you, I live right next to a big giant field. Every winter, the mice in the field come here. Every winter, my little Yorkie Hope yeets them like crazy. Not EATS, not eats. There's a Y in front of that word. And then she just leaves them all over the place. Nobody in my family gets sick. So I'm really sorry that happened to you. That stinks, though. Eat some carbs, man. No. Luckily for me and everyone else here, I don't take orders. Like, honestly, how are you gonna look at me and be like, hey, I know health better than you. I mean, I know what you looked like a couple years ago, but and you know, and what you look like now, but let me tell you what's what. Yeah, all right. Right after that, tell me, go ahead and educate me on the magnetic field and space weather while you're at it. Is it possible to add to your subscription plan to pay one annual payment? I don't know. You could ask Bailey. Rotate the payment submission, get caught short on some months, and end up in an overdraft. That stinks, St. Miles. I'm sorry to hear that. You could email Bailey and try to figure out some workaround with that. Yeah. John Duggins, do you think we will see a pole shift in your lifetime? John, how do you not know the timeline for this? Are you telling me you haven't done the homework? Blinkety blink, blink, blink. The homework listed in the description box right below the video. Also listed beneath every single morning show I do. Please, please do the homework. Do you know what I've never heard anybody say? Man, I'm really, really upset that I spent this tiny little bit of time doing the homework and now I know more than 99.9% of people and I understand everything you're talking about and I don't ask dumb questions anymore. Man, I'm really, really upset I took the couple minutes to do that homework. Said nobody ever. You guys want me to be salty. I'm convinced. I'm convinced that that's what's happening right now. Y'all want me to be salty. Love your work, man. At House Kraka. Yeah, for those who can't tell, I still just read these things out loud without reading them to myself first. Okay. Everyone's timeline is different. Well, guess what? Most of them are based on intuition and theory and some idea that popped into their head or trying to decode random nonsense in a book somewhere. Mine's based on math. Everyone's timeline is different. G. Norman, come now. Any advice for Des Moines, Iowa? Yeah, move somewhere else. Shout out from Red Cloud Ranch. What's up, buddy? How you doing out there? Those are the guys who don't know Red Cloud Ranch. He's walking the walk. A lot of people talk the talk, but Red Cloud Ranch walks the walk. You can find his stuff on Twitter and right here on YouTube if you just want to click his name there. Is your show on YouTube in the morning? Okay. I'm not going to lie. That one got me. That one got me. What's YouTube? What are mornings? Good morning, folks. Watching you all the way from Iraq. Woo! How do you feel about Western Colorado? Better than Florida. Better than Florida. Yeah. Ben, have you heard of mu metal used for magnetic shielding in circuit boards and hard drives? I haven't heard of it. I'll have to look it up. Sounds interesting. Is your show in the morning on YouTube? I find your lack of faith disturbing. Is the magnetic pole shift still speeding up? Yes. Billy Womack, that's funny. I'm not going to answer you, but that's funny. Have you heard of? Oh, no, did that one already. What's my take on aliens or UFOs? Boy, that is a very expansive question. They're real. They're here. They've been here. But the vast majority of UFOs being seen, and especially the stuff that comes out of Congress and the Pentagon, is probably government technology. And they're just doing this to, one, keep the UFO community focused on what they want them to focus on, and two, flex for the rest of the world so they don't do anything stupid. Just one man's opinion. What I would do if I was them and had no conscience. Would it make sense to account for the wide range of solar storm strength from smaller CMEs by the orientation of the weakening magnetic field at the time of impact? I'm not sure what you're asking me there. You said a lot of things that got my attention, though. Would it make sense to account for the wide range of solar storm strength from smaller CMEs by the orientation of the magnetic field at the time of the impact? Orientation of which magnetic field? In the solar wind of the Earth? Because the Earth doesn't change rapidly enough for that to matter. But I mean, one of the things we talk about all the time is the fact that weaker and weaker space weather is causing stronger and stronger geomagnetic impacts. How to account for that? That's a good question. That's a very good question. Scrolled too far. Hi, what source do you suggest for researching flooding from past cycles in my local area? Everything is, quote, millions of years ago, and I need a 12,000-year cycle. So a lot of the things that they now say are millions and millions of years ago was not millions of years ago. And I admit that's a tricky thing, unless you really understand this stuff and you can actually sniff out what's BS and what's not. That is not a rookie level thing. That's like, it will take you years to get good at that. And the other thing is, don't forget, a lot of places have differing kinds of flood evidence. So there are some places that are scoured by the waves. There are other places where it deposits dozens, hundreds of feet of mud and sand and muck and trees and fossils, things like that. And so it really just depends. I mean, it really depends. That one's tough. It's a good question, but there's no easy answer. For the person who asked, no, I don't watch anything Mr. MBBB bullshit does. He's a known fraud, and I make it a point not to waste my time with him. Ben, need a puppy? No, I don't need a puppy. When we look up volcanoes and it shows them extinct, having last popped millions and millions of years ago, do you think that's true? For some, probably. For others, definitely not. We're going to find out in the coming years that a lot of extinct volcanoes were really just in a coma. When dealing with multiple consecutive CME impacts, are the effects multiplicative, or is there a factor of loss included? So what I can tell you is, if there's two CMEs on their way to Earth, if they combine into one, which they like to call a cannibal CME, that will not be as bad as if they hit back to back. Of course, it matters how much time is in between. It matters the strength of each one of them. Whether it's additive, multiplicative, exponential, it seems to be different every time, because there's the timing, the plasma density, the plasma speed, the orientation of the interplanetary magnetic field, and plasma temperature. All of these things matter. All of them matter. And that makes it really challenging to do more than just the qualitative description that I gave, where the double impact is more geo-effective than two combining into one for a cannibal CME. One of the dumb names they've invented for no reason. Do you expect areas to get buried by dust or sand from the micronova shell aside from big impactors? I wouldn't suggest that. Um, is it impossible? No, certainly not. Um, but the vast majority of things getting covered up appears to be more in terms of sedimentation from the great tsunamis. It really does appear to be more from that. Let's see what we got you. Are the deep earthquakes in the Kermadec Islands magma related? I don't know. I haven't been down there to check. Somebody bringing up that idiot Bart who went on Joe Rogan. Bart straight up lied about so many things on that show. I did take the time to watch it, and other things he just clearly doesn't understand at all. We did go through the Van Allen belts. Not only did we go through the outer Van Allen belts, which is about 4% of the total Van Allen belt strength, but back then they were keeping so much stuff secret because Russia was poaching everything. They were trying to steal everything. And let me tell you this, whether it's the pipes, whether it's the metal gradient of within the insulation, or whether it's the wiring, all you got to do is wrap it helically through the fuselage, and guess what? You've turned your spacecraft into a Tesla coil that will create its own energy field equal to and counteracting the incident energy on the spacecraft. So you could go through anything. Maybe not the sun, okay. But in terms of going through the Van Allen belts, cosmic rays, other things like that, it's literally as simple as I just described it. Yeah, they went to the moon. I have heard every single, oh no, but what about this? Crushed them all over the last decade plus. We went, just not the way we said, they said we went, and not for the reasons they said we went. Okay. What key things will you be looking for that would suggest more sudden accelerations of the weakening of the field? I think animal and human behaviors might get extremely concerning. I think human behavior is very concerning as it gets, but it's not the kind of thing that would be over a day. You remember, towards the latter part of last year, we kept saying, guys, the KP index is way too high given the solar wind enhancements. We are breaking auroral records, and the sun is just modest activity. This looks like what we would expect if the magnetic field had taken another acceleration. And of course, just a couple weeks ago, we got that paper from Sergei Semenenko telling us, yeah, we had the largest acceleration yet in March of 2023. And so it's things like that where it's not going to be like, oh, we see a data point one day and that afternoon we'll be able to say definitively, yes, it's happening. But literally we spent the majority of the second half of 2023 suggesting that the evidence said we were taking a deeper dive, a more pronounced downward spiral. And now we just have the confirmation. So yeah, I would say things like that are probably some of the best things we can look for. Barbarian, thank you for the teal pair. I appreciate that. That's the first teal pair of the day, by the way. Thanks for the vids. Respectful request for one on seeming correlation of Great Reset Depop agenda that appear to deliberately precede the sun pole shift. I mean, I've got stuff on that. It's in the new book, too. Have you done the homework, Salty Traveling Sea? Yeah. It's not random. It's not random that they're acting recklessly. They know there will be no reckoning. They don't care that we see it, that people are waking up and realizing we're in a clown world and we can see all the evil stuff they're doing. They don't care anymore. This, that, spending like there's no tomorrow because they know on a given timeline there isn't one. Nobody will hold them account. Well, nobody on this plane anyway. Heading for the hills close to the ranch soon. What you going to do there? It's not bug out time yet, Invisible Front. After the poles shift, will the new poles freeze over? Yes. Yes, they will. Southern Bama. Yes, they will. Good to see you, my friend. Anybody see the director of NASA talk about the other side of the moon always being dark? Yeah, that's my competition. Ben, please enlighten us. How did they get there? I presume you mean the moon. So, literally, if you heard me talking about it, did you not hear what I said literally in the same breath of air where I explained how they did it? I literally just explained it. Ben Fadley, however you're pronouncing your name. Like, how did you hear that I brought up that topic, but you didn't hear my explanation, which all happened in the span of like 20 seconds? Goshen prepping. Are you the guy that gave me a shout out the other day? A bunch of people mentioned that. If that was you, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And welcome to the show. Is there a depth that building a shelter with metal, nails, etc. won't be affected? No. No. Induction goes to the core. If you're using metal, the deeper you go, the worse it will be. Here's the thing about induction. The same amount of energy that is swirling around at the upper atmosphere, that same amount of energy is induced in the crust at every different layer. But the further you get down, the same amount of energy in a smaller and smaller and smaller volume. I would rather, from induction only standpoint, I would rather be standing on the ground than 100 feet below it. Now, you get too far down, you've got other issues magmatically and seismically, especially in the Great Earthquake. But hopefully that helps. Will Mexico be frozen after the shift? Canada tropical. Not necessarily frozen. It'll be much, much colder. Yeah, Canada and Mexico are very much going to flip flop their climates. Westy the White says, hiya, Ben. I'll hiya right back, buddy. Can you create a Faraday cage around your bunker? That seems exhausting and potentially more than you need to do, and actually much more challenging than just building the bunker in a way that's not going to induce extra current into it. Dan Bongino gave you a shout out and called you Space Weatherman. I corrected him. Zebra, did Dan Bongino do that? You're talking about back with the eclipse stuff? I saw that. Appreciated him. What did the polar shift have something to do with the next ice age? Yes, the pole shift has something to do with the next ice age. Various, please do the homework. A solar flare or supernova can speed up the current timeline. Not a supernova. You mean like a supernova from another star? No, that can't speed up the current timeline. A massive solar flare maybe could. Maybe. Yes, Alaska will be tropical after it goes through hell to get there. Nope, scroll too far. Any chance the East U.S. coast rising instead of flooding? Very unlikely. Very unlikely. Thanks for the info and analysis. Thank you, Norman. Appreciate that. Are you doing anything with nuclear power to your ranch? What? Do you think that like civilians can just make nuclear power plants? I don't understand some of these questions. Why don't you just do a podcast for people that already know everything so you don't have to get salty at folks? Okay, C-Mac, how do you suggest I do that? How do you suggest I make a podcast only for people who have done the homework? How would I go about doing such a thing? Do you know of a way to actually do something like that and somehow magically exclude everybody else? Some of y'all don't think for you type shit. Jeff, thank you for the teal pair. I appreciate that. Does the solar wind interfere with the galactic sheet and intensify or nullify the effects? No. No. Have you spoken about the Atlantic Ocean anomaly or glitch? Adrian, I see you skipped the morning show and the 2 shows I did on the glitch a couple weeks ago, the last time it appeared. Adrian Ward, please go back and watch the morning show. I do not want to get back into nonsense right now. Will the Eastern Pacific Ocean flood into the Gulf of Mexico, or will it mostly be held back? Oh, I think it's coming up over Central America. I wouldn't want to be in Central America. Moving to Colorado before it's bug out time. That's probably not a bad idea. Scrolling. What will happen in Panama? Oh. It looks like they typed that right before my comments on Central America. I asked a question in junior high when I was 8 years old. Really? You were in junior high when you were 8 years old? Because I was in 2nd grade. It went like this. We were learning about the glaciers. I asked if the glaciers give us our fresh water. How are we still here if they've melted? Oh, interesting. Might be where Genesis picks up with you not be able to see the sky from the ground. Yeah, probably. Could make it members only. So I do live streams every once in a while for people who are just subscribers of the e-magazine. They're fun. They're really good. There's no trolls. Who's going to pay to troll? Are we expecting any new land to rise up after the pole shift? Absolutely. The question is where? Nobody knows. If you have enough old fire detectors, you can build a reactor. Okay, yeah, in theory you can. They're going to pick you up on satellite detectors, though. They're going to pick you. If you do that, you going to do that. Does uranium run risks from induced currents? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does. Question, what do you think of New York Catskills survival rate in case of an EMP? In case of an EMP, if you've got the stuff, fine. That's not the problem. The problem is the tsunamis. I'm just going to say this for everybody who hasn't done the homework and is on the East Coast asking one of these questions. The waves go opposite directions every cycle. Last time the Pacific attacked the Americas and the Rockies couldn't stop it. It spilled into the Gulf of Mexico. It spilled into the Atlantic. What chance do you think anywhere in the Appalachians has this time? Virtually nothing. Do you see more people affected by high blood pressure in your surroundings? I don't know how the hell I would possibly know such a thing. Like, none of the people around me, I'm like, hey, how's it going? How are the kids? What's your blood pressure today? I wouldn't have any idea how to figure that out. Do you think that stopping oil production and well water will slow down the flip? No. You think this is happening because of oil production and pumping water out of the ground? No, that's not what's happening. What planet am I on today? Is this my channel? Are you my normal viewers? Does the sun coronal holes have more of an impact during an Earth polar shift? All space weather has a greater impact during the pole shift. Lemuria will rise again. Maybe it will. Mark Smith says he moved to Brazil. Congratulations, you moved to the future South Pole. And one, no, that's not high enough. Two, doesn't matter because you're going to have hundreds of feet of ice on top of you. The new North and South Poles, Sumatra, Brazil. Do you relate the photon belt, which is not a thing, with the pole shift in some way, or are they not related? Because let me tell you something. There's no such thing as a photon belt. It's not real. That's not a thing. Photons can't be in a belt. There is an electron belt that is releasing photons, but that's not a photon belt. And that is in the interior of the galaxy, nowhere near us, and has nothing to do with what we're talking about. The stuff you can find on the internet about the photon belt is complete and total nonsense, which you could have surmised by the fact that it's in none of the homework. It's in none of my books, none of my videos explaining what's happening right now. Seriously, how do you guys get the balls to ask questions without having done the homework? You have to know. I'm going to make you look stupid in front of everybody. You guys got major balls. Is this my channel? If I accidentally hacked somebody else's shit here? Global population in 2100. Gut answer, guess. Georgia Guidestones is my guess. Checking in. Love you guys. Keep up the great work. Looking forward to the ranch. Pete, what's up, my friend? Yeah, I'm looking forward to the ranch opening too. Ozzer Draco just gives me a salt emblem. It's nice. Laura, thank you for the teal pear. Makes me smile. Brad says, been here for 70 years with family. 80 feet up behind a hill of 200 feet, Oregon coast. Any chance, or should we move? The problem with the West Coast is earthquakes, volcanoes, and tsunamis. I don't know if that'll be enough, if 200 feet up is enough. I would want more. Of course, none of it matters if a volcano goes off near you, or Cascadia goes off, which it's almost certainly going to do. Somebody just asked about the Netherlands. You mean that country that sits below sea level? Yeah, you guys are going to be fine. Remind people of Oceanic Bulge, 13 miles. There's a crustal bulge there too. It's not like the ocean is actually 13 miles deeper at the equator. There's a crustal bulge there too. So it's relative. When that changes, the crust will drop and the entire bulge across the sphere will drop at that same time. If you have to do the math, do the math, but trust me on that. What do you think of Nebraska a good place for the shift? I'm done answering location questions. And your normal watchers don't need to ask many questions since we did the homework. That's a good point, Joseph. But honestly, the best questions come from people who have done the homework. Chime Snow. That's another great point. Photons are light. Why would there be a belt? There can't be a belt. There is no photon belt. Correct, Chimes. You have new viewers that have never seen this before, but I told them at the beginning of the show to shut the if you haven't done your homework. And then I told them where to find the homework. It's also beneath every morning show that I do. Hey, here's an idea. Normalize not just being lazy. Normalize actually using your head and taking some ownership and control of the media that you consume. Do your own fact checking. I make it super easy because I don't want you guys to have to spend a decade doing this like me. And then on top of that, learn how to speed read and then somehow take a memory course to try to replicate my hyperthymesia. Probably take you 30 or 40 years. The point is, I made it so easy for you. There is no excuse. So no, I am not going to take it easy on people who haven't done the homework. I'm really upset that I took the time to do the homework and can't ask you stupid questions that can be answered by the homework. All right, that's funny. That's a good one. New to the channel, where do I start? What is this homework and where do we find your book? Stacking Surfer, look below the video in the description box. It's the stuff labeled homework. I worry about the immediate aftermath, especially the months of cold and snow. Who told you it's going to be months of cold and snow? It's not what I said. Gardens will be toast. How many months of food do I need to get packing to garden, need to get back to gardening again? So first of all, the stories that have survived describe that after the cataclysm, it's a couple of weeks and we're back in a golden age. Still, I recommend having as much food as possible, years if you can. Do with that information what you will. Did you find actual inland sea age by chance? I don't know what you're asking me there. Which inland sea? Hysteria, I'm not exactly sure what you're asking there. I apologize. Bosun Higgs, appreciate your support and the teal pair. It's a nod for you. Cleveland, Ohio with a Q. Appreciate that. Sorry about your football team. I mean that actually. Tell me about where Olympus is. What the hell are you asking me, Brad? It's a funny question, but I honestly don't know what you're asking. Hi, Ben. Thoughts on volcanic and seismic activity in the mountains along the Arizona-New Mexico border during the flip? So I've mentioned this before, but it's not part of any of the homework. I think a lot of those volcanoes are going to go off there. And we're talking about from Albuquerque past Flagstaff. Does that mean all of them? Certainly no. A lot of them, yeah. Seismic activity, I wouldn't worry as much about, but volcanic activity between Albuquerque and most of Arizona, yeah, it's worrisome. Put it that way. Ashley says, have you ever looked into HARP weather modifications or government cloud seeding as a reason for the abnormality or magnetic house disruption? How does it not influence the magnetic field, or what are your thoughts on governments messing with weather? So yes, Ashley, I have done a lot of research on that. In fact, I would say I know more about weather modification and HARP than just about anybody listening to me. In terms of weather modification, specifically cloud seeding and chemtrails, there's a guy who most people who really know their shit know is one of the experts in the world. His name is Michael Murphy. He made 2 videos you may have heard of. What in the world are they spraying and why in the world are they spraying? Almost nobody knows more than Michael Murphy. Almost. Because in my 2015 talk at the Conscious Life Expo in Los Angeles, I gave a talk on cloud seeding and on chemtrails. And Michael Murphy stood up at the back of the room and gave me a standing ovation, approached the stage afterwards just to tell me how he hates how much disinformation has managed to come out about weatherification and geoengineering, and that I have the best take he had ever heard. As for the fact of the matter is, cloud seeding is their most effective geoengineering. at about 4 or 5% effective. After that, chemtrails, 0.1%. Ionospheric heaters like HARP, complete and total failure. Here's what happened. They tried to make HARP work. They absolutely did. They had such high hopes, but it was a cataclysmic failure. So what do you do in that scenario? Let's use it as a weapon against those with the eyes to see. So what did they do? After being a kill level secret government project, in the span of 90 days, we got books, a History Channel TV show, Jesse Ventura, actor / politician, you trust in them, handing you an enemy on a silver platter and saying, go scream about this on the internet, all while so-called experts are risking their lives, giving talks everywhere all across the country about this dangerous HARP thing, all in the span of 90 days. That is called a limited hangout. It's a story that was put into our community to distract us, to deflect us, and to make us sound stupid to anybody who actually knows the science in the world and who might actually be in a position to listen to the things that we say about the things we see with our eyes to see. I hope my answer was satisfactory, Ashley. You have a lovely day, sweetheart. How long could we expect for the equatorial bulge to adjust to the new equator once the LLSVP released the crust? Could there be a crustal tsunami? So, Don, the LLSVP is not what releases the crust. I just got done saying that the equatorial bulge just readjusts probably relatively quickly. Probably not too long at all. Could there be a crustal tsunami? I think I understand what you're asking me, but probably not. It's a very interesting question and probably one of the cooler ones I've had in a while, but probably not. No. That was a very, very loud noise from downstairs. Subcoder. What's up, man? Recent reports of sea life swimming in circles in the Florida Keys seems magnetosphere related, but would it not be more prevalent closer to the poles rather than the equator? So the first thing that popped into my head was magnetic field. The issue I had was there was no corresponding data. I mean, it's the kind of thing you'd want to be looking for, right? I mean, obviously you think so too, but I had no, obviously I heard about the swordfish and the sawfish, or was it sawfish or swordfish? It doesn't fucking matter. Doing that spinny thing and acting all weird. Of course, the first thing that popped into my head was magnetic field, but I have no other data to go on with that. In terms of being spotted in Florida, there's more marine life watching off the coast of Florida than just about anywhere else in the world. Is there any marine life watching in, the South Pacific? No, not really. None at all. So it's kind of like, yeah, we can look at this stuff and be like, that one's a maybe. A lot of these things we'll just probably never know, which is unfortunate. Scroll too far. Will sand in the prairie region of western South Dakota near the Black Hills liquefied, turning into quicksand during the event? Let's go with yes. Sure, why not? But in reality, I have to tell you, I don't know. Marty, may the Schwartz be with you, young Ben Sunwalker. Marty, that's one of the funniest comments I've had in a while. What a bunch of uneducated people and trolls wanting their 15 seconds of fame on your show, having no clue what's going to happen. It amazes me. People won't make it because of their own stupidity. Yes, I am salty for you. Thank you, Mick Bravo. I'm trying to be less salty today. I'm not doing as good a job as I did the last two shows, but I'm trying. Would you please consider doing the Julian Dory podcast? It is probable the southern tip of Baja California dives into the ocean. Yeah, Cabo is completely and totally screwed. As for Julian Dory, tell him to invite me on. Absolutely. Best place to invite me is through Twitter, by the way. I want to let him know that. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but the Pacific is 2,100 feet deeper than the Atlantic on average, but the deepest parts of terms of basin actually are in the Atlantic. Deeper than the Atlantic. Seems to me this makes the last cycle's waves taller, bigger than what we'd expect this cycle. Am I thinking correctly? So not so much really. And don't forget, specifically when it comes to the eastern half of the United States, you've got the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico converging in the same place. Um, really a brutal scenario. Really a brutal scenario. Um, and don't forget, run up wave height is always higher than wave height. So what I mean by that is, let's say you got a beach and you've got a wave that's cresting right here. It's going to run up to here. I mean, that's sort of basic physics. You can look up wave height calculations, and the wave run up height is always higher than the actual wave height. And it's easier to run up the East Coast than it is the West Coast. You've been out west, see what that coast is like? It had to do some work before it even got there. Doesn't have to do that work on the East Coast. I hope somebody caught what I was just trying to describe. Ben A., your message was retracted, so I have no idea what you said, but I appreciate your support. I really do, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Ring World Traveler, hello, my friend. You mentioned all wires will be fried and are a fire hazard. How do you prep your house ranch? Guess you still have electricity. Not in my survival areas of the ranch, I won't. Yes, the ranch is a business and a place for us to have observer events. There are some electrified structures at the ranch. I ain't worried about them during the micronova. Put it that way. Red Cloud, welcome back. Cool format. Hope Twitter X makes it better. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't like the idea of doing a Twitter space. I don't know why. L. Zaber, Yellowstone, Campy Flegree, and Mount Vesuvius all go. Well, Yellowstone's not going to go. I see you haven't been watching me very long, because if you've been watching me for a while, you would know Yellowstone is broken. It's not a concern. Dude, look at Nebulosity just sniping people. Hey. North American Inland Sea actual age. Sorry. What is the North American Inland Sea? I have no idea what the hell that is. What is the North American Inland Sea? I don't claim to be a geography expert or anything, but I'm not aware of anything in the United States, Mexico, or Canada called the Inland Sea. I have no idea what that is. Wow, we're 52 minutes in. Guys, we're running out of time. Just a couple minutes left. Just a couple minutes left. North American Inland Sea. New discovery under North America splits down the center of the continent between the faults. Okay. See, that's what I'm predicting is going to happen. But they're asking me about the actual age of the existing inland sea. And I don't know what that is. Somebody says Earth is a penal colony. I like to think of us more as a nursery. Thank you very much. But if so, it would be after the Arizona volcano. Yeah, I can't follow any of that. That's crazy. Any wild but realistic predictions about what we'll find in Antarctica after it moves? Evidence of past civilizations. I'm almost certain. Most of you won't be around to see it, though. Jimmy Joe, thank you for the teal pair. This makes me smile. Can't you see? I'm smiling. Anyway, Alamosa is the four corners, right? It's not exactly on the four corners, but it's pretty darn close to it. How active might the Humboldt fault zone get? I don't know what that is. I don't know the name of every fault zone in the world. It's safe to say pretty much every fault zone is going to go berserk during the great earthquake when the earth turns over. Ben, you are so honest it hurts at times. Yeah, imagine being me. It really hurts. I do this for the kick in the teeth in the hopes that I might help a couple of people and entertain others with some salt here and there. Will Mark Zuckerberg survive in his Hawaii bunker? John, I will actually forgive you for not watching the special video I did making fun of Zuckerberg's choice of Hawaii. And the answer to your question is no. Zuckerdoodle is screwed. Then what happens to the vast oceans under the mantle? Oh, the waters below shall come forth, my friend. And after a while, the waters will be separated from the waters above and below once more. But not before all the spiders on Mars come out. When Antarctica melts, we will find sweaty penguins. That's funny, but I don't think Antarctica is going to melt. I've gone over that. Yeah. Should I go over that? Should I go over that? Look, here's the thing. We are 12,000 years into a warm interglacial cycle. There are still glaciers in the tropics today. What are the chances Antarctica or Greenland are going to melt off, even if they're at the equator for 12,000 years, in a glacial cycle? Ladies, are you doing your part to stop what's happening, to stop the cataclysm? It's up to you to deal with the poles and make sure that they are shifting in a more productive way rather than cataclysmic way. I trust you. Hey, Ben, some of us have been watching for over 10 years and are here just to watch the people who don't study. Keep pushing them to learn. I will try, my friend. I will try. I always laugh when I see Zuckerberg's name written as Zuckerborg. I don't know why. Why will there be lightning during the polar shift? Kristen Williams. All right. Well, if you really don't want to do any of the free homework, the magnetic pole shift's primary issue is that it's letting in more energy from space, light and particle energy. It is causing the atmosphere to become more juiced up, more electrified. We are already noticing it everywhere, and it's going to amplify more and more and more. One of the very many things it will do, but perhaps the most obvious, is create more stronger lightning. Damn, I didn't think that one was up for. Never mind. You think the Philippines will be okay? No. No. Not even close. Not even close. Ben, where might I watch you debate? Yeah, I haven't had somebody agree to debate me in a very long time. I bitched Harvard twice. I bitched NASA twice. It was an obliteration. Since then, I haven't had too many takers. Do you guys? Was anybody around when the entire NASA climate team not only decided it would be a good idea to challenge me, but signed the entire NASA climate team? Idiots. Ben, salt-free is overrated when dealing with ignorant comments. You're not wrong. Salt is only a $2 emote. We'll gladly chip in. All right, that's fair. I appreciate that. All right, guys, it has been an hour. It's been a fun hour. I didn't stay as saltless or desalinated as I did the last two, but hey, admit it. I've been worse than this. I've been way worse than this, right? Denver sucks. Guys, I will see you in the morning for the daily show. Be safe, everyone.